Howdy, howdy, everybody. This is Jack. Appreciate you stopping by. I've got a kind of a sad story, but it turned out good. But one of my sons, my youngest son, when he was about 8, I think about 8, 9 years old. I'm not sure. But anyway, he had the school was about, as the crow flies, about 5 miles, 5.5 miles, something down the road from the main road. Now we had all my kids had motorcycles when they were real young, and he had one. And he used to have some friends down there, and he would go the back. You know, he wasn't old enough to drive one or anything like that legally. So we have it's a dirt bike, and have these trails that go all the way. Yeah, we know the trails. They go all the way from our house to the town. Well, no, town. It was a schoolhouse and a volunteer fire department. They had the phone there, so he had friends down there. So he'd go down there and back, and I did that for a long time. So one time he was going down, and we had to go to work doing some oddball thing. So we went down to the big town, and we were coming back, and it was late at night, maybe about 10 o'clock. And the wife and I are coming back, and we're maybe about 2 miles from home, and it's dark, where we're at. There's no lights or nothing, it's just a road that no one. Yeah, when I first moved out there, I used to joke, I could probably go lay out in the middle of the road and go to sleep for 2 or 3 hours, and there would be no cars coming by, So that's how it was. And we're going home, and all of a sudden I see this tennis shoe laying out in the middle of the road, and gets our attention. And then just a little short ways away, there's the other shoe, and the wife's coming in probably. Howdy, Con.
Howdy.
I'm doing a video.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. And so anyway, then we're getting really nervous, and so we go a little bit further, and on the side of the road is my youngest son. He's out. Looks like he's out cold, but I thought at first he was. And there's a bunch of blood in the middle of the highway. About, I don't know, it seemed to me about 2-foot circle, and that was in the middle of the road. And then he was on the side of the road, and he was like out of it, but I think he was moving his head, but he was out. Now you talk about panic. I don't know if you've ever been through something like that. It's terrifying. It is something that, hey, there's Max. It's just a terrifying situation. I don't wish this on my worst enemy. The wife started screaming, while I stopped the truck, and I didn't know what to do, but it was kind of like with me. I got a hold of me, like the situation, and I had to be strong at the time. And I told Connie, I says, we were stopping the truck to get out. I said, no, you got to be strong. Whatever it is, you got to pull yourself together. And she did, So we went out, there's the other dog, lady, and we got out of the car, and we rushed over to him, and he was talking out of his head. He wasn't making sense, And so here, the situation I'm in is I'm out in the middle of nowhere where, like I said, 5 miles from the nearest human being, out in the middle of absolute nowhere. It's 10 o'clock at night on some Wednesday night or something like that. We didn't have cellular phones then. We would have had to go all the way 5 miles to the payphone, call an ambulance, and then go back and then wait probably an hour for them to get there. They're in town. With the big town's like 45 minutes away. So I didn't know what to do. I was talking out of his head. It was legs and stuff were beat up pretty bad, and I didn't know what to do. But real quickly I decided, well, I'm going to have to get him in the car or in the pickup because I was worried about, broken bones or a neck thing, or, but I didn't know what to do. It was going to be an hour and a half by the time we had anybody up there. So I ended up, picked him up as carefully as I could. And he wasn't that big of a kid. And I set him on the back seat. And he was, like I said, he was really, it's shakes me up to even talk about it. But so we drove down to the hospital, and he was mumbling and stuff on the way down, and going as fast as I could go. And we got him to the hospital, and I remember going in, and they rushed him in and started cutting his clothes off and things like that. But anyway, it turned out that he was basically okay. I think his leg was broke. If I'm not mistaken, I think his leg was broken. And it's been a long time ago, like 35, 40 years ago. So, he was okay. Yeah, but he was all banged up. He was banged up, bruised up. I think maybe he had a broken wrist or something like that. But anyway, what happened was while I was in the hospital, the rest of the boys and we went out to we knew where he was, well, what happened? He was going down and was coming back home that night, and his bike conked out on him. And it was off the side of the road a little bit where cars couldn't see it, and he decided to walk up, 2 miles to 3 miles to go, so he was just going to walk home. And it was still, at the time, it was still light out. So he did that. He started walking, and it was turning dark. And he said he was walking in the middle of the road, which he shouldn't have been. But, sometimes on a mountain road, there's no side of the road. It's just, that's what it is. And all of a sudden, I guess he didn't hear it. Some person came up and hit and run. And I guess he hit him so hard, he took him out of his shoes, which is kind of a weird thing, but that's why I sing the shoes. And he went flying over, this will be told me later, when I could remember, but she had like a small station wagon, an old one of the old ones, and he went right over the car, and then she just took off. We found out it was a lady, we found out, and anyway, the cops handled it, but went right over the car and left him out in the middle of the street. So he said he knew he was, he was in his right mind enough to know that he's got to get out of the street, So he slowly drug himself to the side of the road, and then I guess he might have been there maybe 2 hours, I guess, waiting, nobody on the road. I'm not sure the exact time, but something like that. So that was, and then we came along. So that was, that's a horrible thing to go through, like I said, and I don't want to. But anyway, getting back to the boys and the other boys, while they was in the hospital, we went out and to the site, had to get his motorcycle and, his helmet and things like that. And that's when I just suddenly broke down. And it was weird because I was stiff upper lip the whole time. Till then, the kids were out there, we were loading the bike up and stuff, and his helmet and stuff that it was left out there. And boy, I broke down hard. I saved it till the end, but but anyway, he turned out fine. And, but just a sad story report, but thanks.